It started with a glance, a smile that wasn't just polite. It was laced with promise. She wasn't just beautiful. She had that magnetic energy that made other women fade in the background. She wasn't loud, but everything about her screamed, "I'm different." And he believed it. She made him feel seen, really seen. Like all his flaws weren't flaws, just edges waiting to be understood. At first, it wasn't even about seduction. She simply noticed him, laughed at his dry jokes, lingered in conversations, sent little texts that seemed innocent but addictive. She gave just enough. Enough to spark hope, not enough to create clarity. That's how she operated. Not with outright lies, but with strategic ambiguity. And he got hooked, not because she offered love, but because she offered the idea of it. Every time he pulled away, thinking she wasn't interested, she'd pull him back with something small. A compliment, a deep message at midnight, a sudden emotional confession about her past. And just like that, he'd be drawn in again. She didn't offer consistency. She offered potential. And potential is more dangerous than rejection. See, rejection gives you closure. But potential, it keeps you guessing. And when a man keeps guessing, he keeps chasing. And that's exactly what she wanted, not his heart, his attention, his pursuit, his energy. He started changing. Slowly, subtly. He became the version of himself he thought she wanted. He texted back faster. He dressed differently. He showed up more emotionally available, but nothing was ever enough. She never said it directly, but her tone said, "Try harder." So he did. And the harder he tried, the less she gave. It was like chasing a shadow. One day she was warm, the next cold. One day she said he was everything she ever wanted. The next she needed space. But not space to move on. Space to keep him at a distance, just close enough to keep hoping. He stopped dating other women. He stopped focusing on his goals. Every morning started with, "Did she text me?" Every night ended with, "What did I do wrong?" His confidence, gone. His sense of masculinity, undermined, and still, she never outright rejected him. That was the cruelty of it. She never gave him permission to leave. She just made staying unbearable. And if he ever confronted her, she'd say things like, "Why are you rushing?" Or "You're overthinking," or the worst one, "You deserve better than me." She knew exactly what to say to reset the cycle. She didn't want him to move on. She wanted him waiting. But here's the part most men don't talk about. When you chase a woman like that long enough, you don't just lose your self-worth, you lose your identity. You become a version of yourself that is constantly questioning, constantly proving, constantly performing. And when a man reaches that point, he doesn't even know who he is without her. It took a breakdown, a night where he sat alone reading old messages, seeing the pattern. It wasn't love, it was manipulation. Not intentional maybe, but still toxic. She wasn't evil, but she was selfish. She wanted the power that came with his love, not the responsibility. And deep down she knew exactly what she was doing. So he stopped replying. No big speech. No dramatic goodbye. Just silence. At first, she ignored it. Then she poked. Then she begged. But by then something had shifted in him. He no longer craved her attention. He craved his peace. He didn't need her to validate him anymore, because he'd finally remembered who he was before she made him forget. And that's the lesson. Some women won't break your heart, they'll break your identity. They'll make you chase a version of love that never existed. And if you're not careful, you'll spend years trying to earn the approval of someone who never intended to love you, just to own you. But now, he knows better. He doesn't chase breadcrumbs. He doesn't wait for mixed signals. He doesn't fall for connection without consistency. Because real love doesn't confuse. It calms. It doesn't drain. It grounds. And the next woman who enters his life, she won't get a man desperate for validation. She'll get a man who validates himself.